Hello, good afternoon, good morning, good evening from wherever you are calling in from. This is Navigating Autodesk Revit Customer Feedback Channels. And my name is Kimberly Fuhrman. I'm the Revit Community Manager for Autodesk. So I'm very excited to join you today. This is actually my second presentation for BIM Coordinators Summit. As I said, I'm the Revit Community Manager for Autodesk. I'm also a recovering BIM manager, having spent over 28 years in the architectural and civil design field. In my spare time, I'm a mom of three, a mom to a really cute rescue pup. She just turned 13 this year, which is amazing. And I just became a grandmom, Gigi. And that's actually the reason I wasn't in Ireland last year, is because I was expecting her birth, and she'll be a year old in September. Feel free to reach out to me. There's my connection info, and happy to chat with you at any time. Okay, so what are we going to learn in this session? Well, we're going to take a look at why customer feedback is so important to Autodesk, how our product teams use your feedback, some of the improvements that we've made to Revit because of your feedback, and show you some new ways to interact with the product team and to provide constructive feedback. You'll notice I'll probably use that word constructive quite a bit in this session. All right, so why this topic? Well, I've been with Autodesk now almost 3 years, which is hard to believe. Time flies when you're having fun. But as the Revit community manager, and prior to that, as I said, I spent over 28 years doing architectural design, doing project management, doing BIM management. And I experienced many of the same frustrations that I know you all have had with Revit. I started using Revit in 2007 and was mostly self-taught with the help of some friends and consultants. I started making connections and got connected with Augie. And through Augie, I found out about this Revit preview release and the Autodesk Developers Network. And, from there, I was invited to some Inside the Factory events, which were really fun. But I tell you that just to say, not to brag about where I've been, but just to let you know that, I kind of lucked into finding this whole feedback channel and process with Revit. And so I want to share ways that you can give feedback directly to Autodesk and, not find it the hard way like I did. Of course, Revit is just one tool in our BIM toolbox, and we also know that it is one of the most widely used BIM software tools. So now that I work as a customer advocate for Autodesk, I wanted to highlight ways you can stay in the loop with what is happening with Revit and how you can help shape the future of Revit. Let's take a look at some of the ways you can give direct feedback, starting with the quickest and easiest, and we're going to be working our way into some more detailed feedback opportunities. So keep in mind that even though we're focusing on Revit today, these opportunities can also apply to many of our product offerings. Okay, we'll start off with the Revit ideas and community forums. This is a very easy and quick way to give us feedback, ask questions, or find support. There truly is a community of industry colleagues who are passionate about their work, and our Autodesk community team is also there to help. So speaking of community, our recent releases of Revit have been very responsive to your requests. So since 2016, which is when the Revit ideas have started, we've added or we've included over 360 ideas in the software. And those ideas total, I know it's way more than 31,000 votes. So those votes tell us what's important to you when it comes to new features and enhancements in Revit. On the right side there are the top 5 community voted ideas that have been implemented in the last few years. So a lot of votes there, and just a lot of quality of life features that kind of make using Revit a lot easier. PDF support, measuring in 3D, dual monitors. You would think it's very basic, but definitely important to our customers. And so we thank you for those suggestions. Okay, and again, to find all of our community forums, you can go to forums.autodesk.com. From there, you can explore all of our product forums and post ideas to the Revit forums. Now, the Revit forums specifically is used for customers to post ideas for improvements or new features to the software. Okay, so ideas should be concise and specific. Sample images or videos are helpful for our product teams to understand your requests. And again, these should be constructive requests that are actionable for our teams. Now I'm going to address that elephant in the room. With over 10,000 ideas currently on the forums, you may think it is worthless to post a new idea, but that's really not true. We are continually combing the ideas for potential improvements. Now, indeed, if you do a quick search, you will most likely find that your idea has already been posted, and you can add your votes and comments to existing ideas. This helps keep those ideas kind of boosted a little bit. So this helps with the work that we are doing to consolidate and combine ideas, making it easier for both product teams and customers to go through. We know it's a big pile, but we're working through it. Revit in-application surveys, these are relatively new to Revit, so everyone loves those annoying pop-ups that exist in every piece of software. But these Revit in-app surveys that occasionally will pop up once you close Revit, okay, are absolutely valuable to our teams. This is a very quick way to let us know what you think about Revit, just as you're using the software. And you can give us your constructive criticism, there's that word again, or suggestions for the software. Yes, we do read all the responses, and I can tell you that not all of them are helpful. Okay. These surveys are anonymous, so we may not be able to respond in a personal way, but the feedback that we get is critical to our teams. This is a little bit different from the problem reports that pop up when or if Revit crashes, okay? We do read those responses as well. So make sure you submit the problem reports and describe specifically what you were doing before the crash every time. Okay, so just a side note on problem reports. The Autodesk research community. So the Autodesk research community is another type of kind of community experience, if you want to put it that way. You're working alongside of our Autodesk research team. Customers in the Autodesk research community can participate in interviews, surveys, and usability tests. The amount of commitment or participation is completely up to you, and those opportunities are tailored to your industry and interests. Revit preview release. This is another one of my favorites. Obviously, I'm kind of passionate about them all, but the Revit preview release, another way to provide feedback and track Revit development is through our Revit preview release project. You can apply to join the preview and have early access to beta testing of new features and tool sets in Revit. Once you are accepted into the preview, you will have access to the current development release of Revit and the opportunity to test the features and enhancements that our product teams are currently working on. You can give feedback directly to our teams and interact with our developers on the private preview release forums. Now, the application for the preview release does require a signed non-disclosure agreement. We have found that preview users value direct interaction with the product team. They get to know the developers on a more personal level and reap benefits of better planning for future upgrades. So just for an example, in the recent Revit 2024 release, we incorporated 130 enhancements and resolved 313 issues based on customer feedback in the Revit preview. So being a part of the Revit preview also provides opportunity to participate in our Inside the Factory events. Inside the Factory events, these are so fun. You know, I keep saying this is my favorite, but I really think this is my favorite. Our Inside the Factory events are opportunities for you to test Revit development software in real time with our product developers. You get to see that they actually are real people. These require a little more time commitment, but I can tell you from personal experience from both the customer side and the product team side that they are extremely valuable. Now, our online events are open to anyone who are in the preview release and usually happen sometimes monthly or every 2 months, depending on the development cycle. Now, there are links in the preview release to join these sessions whenever they occur. And there's no prerequisite for those other than just being a part of the preview release. Now, the live events are back for October of 2023, and we are very excited about these events. So for the live events, you get to travel to one of our Autodesk offices, and we provide food and lodging for the week, and you get to spend a few days in the office working alongside our development team, testing the latest features and enhancements that are currently in development. And we also do some fun evening activities. So my first experience with Inside the Factory was just a few years ago in the Boston office. And now this time will be my first Inside the Factory experience as an Autodesk employee. So I'm looking forward to this new perspective. Unfortunately, by the time this presentation is available, registration for this year's in-person events will be closed, but keep an eye out for future opportunities for both in-person and online. Okay, so closing loop, what do we do with all of this feedback? It seems like there are so many ways, and how will you know what is being done with Revit? Well, there are several different ways that we try to close the loop with our customers. Okay, so first is our AEC or Revit blog. Here's where you can go to find the latest news related to Revit and all of our AEC products. Even within the Revit blog, there's a link to our AEC roadmaps. The roadmaps tell us where the software is headed, what features are currently in development, and just give you an idea of what may be coming down the pike. So we'll take a look at the roadmap next. So here's a brief tour. You can head over to the Revit blog, excuse me, and get a view of discipline-specific roadmaps for architecture, structure, MEP, Dynamo, and infrastructure. Of course, there's a safe harbor statement to remind you that these are our plans and not to make purchasing decisions based on what you see on the roadmap. As you scroll, you can see the different disciplines with cards and categories for each stage of development. On each card, you can click for more details and rate the feature by level of importance to the work that you do. Now, you can also give direct feedback to your product teams. So once you let us know how important this is, another window will pop up and it will allow you to put in a comment to further describe why you think this is important or not important. These roadmaps are continually being updated, and you can subscribe to the Revit blog so that you never miss an update. We're certainly committed to providing as much transparency as possible, and we know that we can't build the Revit you need without your feedback. Autodesk University, it's happening again in November. We are back in Las Vegas for this year. This is our largest conference, a great way to connect with colleagues from around the world, as well as meeting with Autodesk representatives in person. It's also a great learning experience. There are a lot of educational sessions. So you can learn more about the software. You can learn from other colleagues in the industry, much like this BIM Coordinators Summit, about how products are being used in the industry, and what the future might look like. So I'm looking forward to Autodesk University. I hope to see some of you there. Okay, so in summary, these are just a few of the ways that Revit users can connect with our researchers and our product teams directly. We're always open to conversations with our customers about how we can make Revit better. Of course, we may never be able to please everyone, but we strive toward that goal every day in our work. Obviously, Revit is just one tool, again, in our BIM toolbox. I'm certain that no matter what piece of software you use, there are always ways to improve. And our developers need to know what you need. We appreciate your feedback. It truly is a gift. Thank you for your interest in this presentation. And please feel free to reach out to me after this presentation. I will be putting links in the chat to each of our different channels that you have seen today. Thank you and enjoy the rest of your conference.